What is going on, and happy Labor Day. It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we're going to be breaking down a Pro Football Network 2025 NFL mock draft. If you are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. You guys know how to use YouTube. Below my face is my board. It will be changing, and actually, God bless this universe, and God bless my plugs for all 22. They're already getting 2024 clips up, which is incredible. So we're already going to be diving in and adjusting, but this is the board as is, and you can always check out all the videos on it because every player that you see below my face has a video or they're part of a video associated with them. Let's get right into this. Below that is just the easy way of describing everything that's in that beautiful link tree, and take advantage of that UnderDog code because you might want to before some of these great deals are over, because they're trying to capitalize on it in the first week of college football, which means they're giving you the best deals now. But they're going to continue sprinkling deals here and there. You click that top link in the link tree, and then it puts all the information in for you. So saves you the work. Let's get right into this because I want to go see my parents in Tyler, and that is 100 miles away. So I want to do it and get there for dinner. If you can not tell from the lighting outside, time is ticking. But I still want to get you guys some good content while I'm away. I don't really want to be spending time there. You guys know what's up. It's time to enjoy your time with your family. So hopefully this will be a nice, quick but yet informative way of enjoying time with yours. Carolina Panthers have the number 1 overall pick. I don't think this is the case, but I assume that this is going to be reverse Super Bowl odds. It's the Pro Football Network drafts, their mock draft simulator, which is ass. Just got to call it out as it is. Broshman and I did a 3-round mock, which is up on the show. If you guys want a longer 2-hour version of what I'm talking about here. But Carolina Panthers go Luther Burden at number 1. Luther doesn't have that upside, in my opinion, to be a number 1 overall pick. He is far inferior to guys like Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors. So for me, not really there on him just yet. I would love for him to get to that point because, who doesn't want to see a more dynamic superstar in the NFL? But at the same time, I think wide receiver at number 1, unless they really are game-changing at the next level, it doesn't make any sense. Titans then go Emory Jones at 2. If he can end up proving to be able to stick at tackle, which we'll see tonight versus USC, it might be worth it. But there are some rumors that he can be a guard, so we'll see what happens. But he is my number 2 right tackle in the draft. At number 3, the Patriots go Mason Graham. He ended up, of course, this was posted yesterday, but theoretically, it's before all this happened. Mason Graham ended up having 0 pressures versus Fresno State. And that was on, I think, over 20 pass rushing reps, which is just not great for someone who is more of that block shedding pass rush upside type. Did not perform that well. But the Patriots went defensive interior when edge rusher is a massive need, and there's some good edge rushers in this class. It doesn't really make much sense to me. Pick number 4, the Broncos go Will Johnson. People are going to try to come at him because he let up 77 yards. Your favorite cornerback that you probably ever watched has had a game where he let up 77 yards. Did he end off that game with a pick 6? Don't know, but Will Johnson did. So, you know what? You can kiss it. Will Johnson in Denver is amazing. He is the best player I've ever studied. And the fact is, even in a day that he had a bad game, which it's the start of the year, shit happens, he ended up rebounding. That's why I fell in love with Joey Porter Jr. Even in the Purdue game where he got lit up, he still ended up adjusting mid-game and ended up making the game-winning play by defending the play that was eating him the entire game. So Will Johnson up in that realm. The Las Vegas Raiders go Carson Beck. Carson Beck looked pretty damn solid. People who are saying athleticism is not an asset for Beck, I don't know why that was a thing. Like, he is pretty damn athletic. I don't really know why people didn't think that, but he's going to be basically similar to Gardner Minshew level for me, and I think that's adequate. But at number 5 overall, don't really see the ceiling there. Giants go Shedeur Sanders at number 6. Did a fantastic job versus an FCS school, and I'm excited to see it versus like higher tier FBS schools, and I know he'll be facing those. But the fact is, he has the best processor in the class. I've kept to that since the beginning. And I don't think he has a plus arm, but you don't need a plus arm. I feel like people, when they hear when I say, oh, he doesn't have a plus arm, it's like I'm saying that he can't throw in the NFL. I'm just saying a lot more things have to be perfect, which luckily he does have a really good processor, so it can be. It's like, I don't know why people just don't understand that good quarterbacks can have a not great arm. Like, there's a lot of them in the NFL. It's just still a point that you can make. So, just people are always trying to find something to like nitpick and critique. And, to be fair, I'm doing the same thing. But also, when people take it out of context and don't understand what I'm actually talking about, That's where the fun comes in. But the Cardinals then go Ben Morrison at 7. I think cornerback's a smart move, especially if defensive interior is not valuable at that point. I honestly think Tyleik Williams, based on his most recent performance, has a better shot at getting selected before Mason Graham if the trend continues. But I don't think the trend will continue. Like, at the end of the day, those are my top 2 D tackles, so I'm pretty fine with them going head-to-head versus each other the whole year. Commanders going after Travis Hunter. I think he will be a wide receiver just because money talks, and that's a higher paying position by literally over 50%. And I think, yeah, I mean, it just makes sense. Money talks, man. So I don't blame Travis Hunter for doing what's best for him, even though I think he's a better corner. The Commanders could use either. So I guess if Travis Hunter has a calling to corner, God bless. But if he has a calling for wide receiver, still a valuable pick. Saints go Will Campbell. I love the idea. I just don't know how many times they've gone to LSU in the first round. I remember someone saying like they haven't before, or at least in a very long time, which I think is kind of dumb because there's some good LSU players that have been available at their spot. But Will Campbell's fantastic. As long as his arm length, similar to Emory Jones, doesn't get in the way, he could be a really, really good tackle and put Tully back to right. Minnesota Vikings go Deone Walker. He didn't really do too much this past week. I think it might have been 2 pressures on over 20 pass rushing reps. For me, I want 1 pressure per 10 rushes against inferior competition, and I thought he faced inferior competition. I was a little bit let down by that, but at the end of the day, it's week 1. I have my video up where I describe the guys who are actually winners and losers of the week. Then we have the Buccaneers going Malachi Starks, fantastic player. Seeing him paired up with Antoine Winfield Jr. would be ridiculous, but I doubt that it would be because of a safety that the Buccaneers would be at 11. And more so an edge rusher. But speaking of one, you got James Pierce here, and Seattle does have a solid rotation of edge rushers. I don't think this is a first-round need, but I do see it as one where they want to develop some extra depth because you do pretty much have 4 guys worth pretty much taking snaps at the moment. James Pierce is fantastic. He just needs to develop more, and I think that's what this year will give him. Just at the moment, he's not fully there yet. Indianapolis Colts go Colson Loveland. He literally accrued for, 87 out of under 130 yards, so damn near 75% of Michigan's passing yards. Fantastic, but I also don't think the Colts have enough bandwidth to be able to utilize Colston the way a 13th overall pick should be used. I'd love to see this on the defense because I don't think the Colts would be here at 13 solely because of their offense. I think it'd be much heavier due to the defense. T-Mac putting up over 300 yards, fantastic. I don't think New Mexico is going to be very relatable to NFL defenses, but at the end of the day, you still are seeing the fact that in a role that's perfect for him, in an offense that likes to feed him, he's going to be great. And I stick to my guns. I don't think in every single team he should be a top tier receiver. Like, he is very role specific. But if the role is there, i.e. the Lions, I don't really think the Steelers too much, but the Lions, the Jaguars, teams that can really maximize his deep threat ability, but also his size and don't really need a separator because they have other ones on their team. Those are the teams that I really feel confident in Tetairoa McMillan being even a top 15 receiver in the NFL. I just don't think that he's going to go to a squad that doesn't have separators and you're looking for somebody who could separate with their route running. He's not going to be your guy. But the Steelers, I'm not going to say it's a bad pick at all because at the end of the day, we have Jack in terms of actual wide receiver talent, unfortunately, besides George Pickens. And, even though this is not ideal, it sure as hell is an upgrade. I just think that I trust the Steelers to do their best while drafting wide receivers outside the first round. Jaguars didn't go Kelvin Banks. With all the tackles coming up for contracts, it makes a ton of sense. Kelvin Banks is a really solid tackle. The whole UT offensive line did a fantastic job this week. Cleveland Browns go Tyleik Williams. He is great. And if I'm not mistaken, they also ended up drafting the defensive interior Michael Hall last year. So pairing him back up would be awesome, which I don't even see him being listed here. If you guys hear scratching in the background, which you probably don't, if you guys are fans of the squad already and are already on Twitter, you guys know that you voted for me to keep a bunny that my dog tried to execute on the spot. He's like a week old, and he's still kicking. He's honestly, his biggest issue is his attitude more than anything. So, and I feel like that's a pretty good issue to have. But at number 17, the Rams go Harold Perkins. After pretty much getting rid of Ernest Jones for nothing, I doubt the Rams would look at Harold Perkins as like this valuable. Linebacker just seems to not really be the return on investment position that you're really kind of hoping for. So I just doubt that would be the case. But I love Harold Perkins if you can use him as a pure edge. which doesn't fit what the Rams are doing at edge. Niners going, Jesus, what am I saying the Niners so much for? They're living rent free in my head. Chargers go Emeka Ibuka here. They do need to go after receiving talent. I just don't know if Emeka is there just yet, but I'm glad to see he had some flashes. I'm really praying that he stays healthy this year and could be more of a boundary threat. Abdul Carter goes at 19 to the Bears. He had some flashes this week, but at the end of the day, he ended up being the worst graded defender on Penn State's defense this past week, and he only had one pressure to his name, so definitely will need to improve. I do really think he's going to have a big learning curve, and the Bears you don't need to take a guy with a big learning curve when the player who's selected next to Nick Scourton is absolutely phenomenal, and you have a guy day one who's going to thrive. So love Nick Scourton to the Falcons. I think that I'm going to be the first one to say it. I think not Joe Tryon, which, I mean, he's a bust as well, but that's another Washington guy. Braylon Trice, I'd already call it quits on him. 245 pounds, just not the same guy. Ended up tearing his ACL. Like, there's just too many things going wrong. I wouldn't hold myself back from going Nick Scourton if he were on the table just because I had Braylon Trice. And y'all know me, I love Braylon Trice with all my heart. It's just, y'all know how the offseason, like, I swear, Braylon Trice and frickin' who's the Mizzou guy that I'm slipping up on. You guys know who I'm talking about. Isaiah McGuire. Both those guys in the offseason just kick me in the nuts. But let's get on. Miami Dolphins going Tyler Booker. I think it's a move they should make. I don't think it's a move they will make because they're the second, if not the number one fastest to throw team in the NFL, which means they don't need to be really solid at blocking for more than a very short period of time. Packers go Kenneth Grant, another player who severely underperformed versus Fresno State. Really scary, but I do think that Green Bay would be a great spot for Kenneth to land and learn from all the plethora of talent that they have there. Carl Brooks, Kenny Clark, etc. Then we have the Jets going Mikael Williams. I mean, he's fantastic. Just needs to continue polishing up, man. I mean, that's the thing. We all know he has all the talent in the world. It's just, can you be polished? And, with all the crap that's going on with Hassan, this makes a ton of sense. Then you got the Texans going Jonas Savania. He struggled this past week. He ended up letting up a couple pressures, and Arizona didn't even really face a great team, New Mexico. So it's a team that he should have had a really good starting out at. But if you kick him to the inside, he might be able to have a better early career. Quinshon Judkins goes to the Cowboys at 25. I think running back still is in the cards. I just would substitute Quinshon Judkins at this point for Ashton Jeanty. If Ashton ends up not fumbling 5 times this year, it is undisputable that he'll be a first-round pick because he is phenomenal. Eagles then go Parker Brailsford. I mean, this dude just got up to 290 from being 275. I know the Eagles love their undersized offensive linemen, but if you also look at it, they like their really big offensive linemen too. I feel like this is a little bit of a cop-out based on the history of the Eagles. They're going to be looking for potentially a tackle development guy, not really a center at the moment. But I really do like Parker Brailsford. He will end up being around that 35 mark on my board. Cincinnati Bengals then go Denzel Burke. Didn't really think that the secondary was the position to target for the Bengals. But, I mean, I can totally see if DJ Turner doesn't get better. It's a position you could target. It's very good value, especially for someone who's as talented as Denzel Burke, who got a pick this week. Then we got the Bills going Princely Umamulan. They do need some edge rush help, and Princely is a very, very talented edge rusher. I think that he's going to be someone who remains in the first round towards the later end of it, but if he can remain consistent, especially with his athleticism and effort, he's going to be a super stud, and that's going to be a steal there. Lions, I would have loved for the same, but Patrick Payton, I cannot understand how after that game versus, Georgia Tech, that they would even dare put him in the first round. That was embarrassing. Maybe it was only 11 pass rushing reps, but to get A, 0 pressures, but B, not even win your reps versus tight ends, it was a disgrace to people like me who have a lot of faith in the development of Patrick Payton. Granted, I did not put my name down on it. I have him as a developmental player, but someone who I was really hoping to see that take that step up. And especially with all the drama this year with the transfer portal and stuff, he's not worth a first round pick. But I do like the idea of going after an edge for the Lions. If Patrick Payton's there in the third, you can start talking to me about that as a developmental guy. At 30, the Ravens go Donovan Jackson. I think that's a brilliant idea. Donovan Jackson, you can see it. He's number 9 overall on my board. I think he's a fantastic guard with even tackle potential. So keep that in mind as well. Ronnie Stanley might be able to teach him a thing or two. Then the Niners go Siobhan Revell. Boosting the corner core is never a bad idea for any team, and Siobhan is 6'3", 190 plus. and he moves really well. So he's someone who could be a sneaky first-round pick. It's cool to see East Carolina get some representation. And then the Chiefs go Kevin Winston to actually have a really young safety core there with Jaden Hicks as well. Kevin Winston's a really talented player. His pursuit angles are just going to be the death of him if he can't fix that up on a more consistent basis. But Penn State guys, you guys know, defensive backs from there always have my heart. So that's going to be the video. Thank you so much for watching, showing the love you always do. I love y'all. See you on the far side. Peace.